And first of all, I would like to thank the Office of the Deputy Commissioner of Educator Support and the TEA for granting me this opportunity to present my ideas and propose initiatives to help poor and disadvantaged kids in our community have greater access to computer literacy programs. I hope that by the end of our conversation today, you'll get a clear picture of what this project entails and how the TA can play a pivotal role in leading the way to ensure that we succeed and have greater access to computer literacy programs and those without. And some of you may ask where I got this idea from. To be honest with you, I've been working on this project for the past year and a half since my sophomore year. But this idea came out of a class project in my English class during my freshman year. My English teacher assigned us a semester-long project to write about issues of gentrification, poverty, and other challenges facing poor residents in our communities. Part of the requirements of the project was to interview at least 2 experts on the topic. I went and interviewed 2 Texas State professors and wrote a good report. And my teacher was very pleased and excited with my work. After the semester ended, I started pondering whether describing the problems faced by poor people here in Austin and disadvantaged communities, especially children are here in Austin, was good enough. I decided to be part of the solution. And I realized over the past decade, Austin has become a hub for tech companies. Many tech giants, including Google, Apple, and Samsung, and Tesla, and many others have relocated some of their activities from Silicon Valley, California, and New York to elsewhere in Austin. But many people tend to have a fallacy that by tech companies moving into Austin, it would lead to high-paying jobs for local Austin residents. It's no doubt that such relocations of companies have helped boost local economic activities, especially in the tech sector here in Austin. However, many times tech companies come with their highly trained experts to Austin. As more and more of these experts relocate to Austin, it puts pressure on the cost of living for Austinites, and this presents a clear source for gentrification. And I also realized that while other schools around Austin are highly equipped with the right technologies, there are schools in poor inner-city neighborhoods which are not properly equipped with technologies in the classroom where students can succeed in middle and high school. Many of these poor schools cannot even afford to hire good computer science teachers. I look at myself with all the opportunities which I have had going to some of the best STEM schools in this area. I have taken all AP and non-AP computer science courses at LASA, and I'm not even a senior yet. I wonder what my peers in other schools without these opportunities will become in the future, especially kids who grew up in poverty for no fault of their own, where their parents can't even afford to buy for them computers, combined with the lack of consistent internet connectivity at home and the lack of proper guidance. I saw this problem during COVID, where Austin ISD was sending buses to some of these poor communities, and kids would get into these buses to access Wi-Fi for virtual learning. This made me really sad. So let me now share with you what this project is about. I will give some brief background and talk about main aim of this project, and I'll also talk about the project deliverables, key stakeholder analysis of this project, and share with you some trends in the tech job distribution at the global, national, and local levels here in Austin. Lastly, I'll discuss what kinds of resources we need for this project and types of support I'm expecting from the TA. And at this point in the presentation, can I please share my screen?
Sure, you should. Yeah, I think you should have ability to do it, but let me know if you don't.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. There you go. That should work. Okay, I would like to begin with a quote by Professor Leslie Lamport, who won the A.M. Turing Award, which is a Nobel Prize in computing, for his work in distributed system. Professor Lamport notes, the importance of thinking and writing before you code needs to be taught in undergraduate computer science courses, and it's not. And the reason it's that is there's no communication between the people who teach programming and the people who can teach program verification. From what I've seen, the fault lies on both sides of that divide. The people who teach programming don't know the verification that they need to know. The people who are teaching verification don't understand how it should be applied or used in practice. So in my opinion, the wide applications of computer programming in real life must be taught to kids early on, not just in university computer science classes. Kids all over America need to understand that their lives at some point will depend on computer science. And computer languages or computer science are increasingly becoming incorporated as requirements in the US workforce. Many Americans have gone back to school to acquire skills in computer programming and data analytics to make them remain competitive in an ever-evolving, dynamic, and competitive 21st century global labor market. Many schools have gradually changed their curricula to focus on training American students on computer literacy at an early age. And schools use tools and applications such as Scratch and MakeCode, which is an application by Microsoft. And both of these applications use block-based programming languages, which is basically a visual programming language that represents actual programming languages such as Python and JavaScript. And it's much more easier for kids to learn computer science that way. And many of these applications also use physical hardware like Arduinos. And MakeCode has something like this called Microbit. And it's an Arduino-like device, but instead it has like a built-in LED display that can visually output results of programs that these kids can make. But and also along the same lens, private coding companies are popping up all over the country and offering both online and summer bootcamp programming opportunities to American children of all ages. And an example of this is a private coding company called Code Ninjas. And I was lucky to attend this while I was in middle school. And I was introduced to programming languages such as Java, JavaScript, and Python. And we made projects such as games, websites, when I was in this private coding company. But despite all these efforts, there's increasing inequality and disproportionate access to computer literacy programs across the United States. Many schools in poor inner city neighborhoods and rural communities do not have the resources and capability of equipping schools with the technological infrastructure for kids to gain better access to programming and other computer literacy programs. This lack of access is exacerbated in low-income and underrepresented communities of color, especially African Americans and Hispanics. And this could be low-income communities of any low-income communities, not only like communities of color. And due to poverty, most parents of low-income households cannot afford to buy computers, necessary software packages, such as computers, laptops, and they can't pay for summer coding boot camps like Code Ninjas that I mentioned before. And also, in addition, they lack the consistent internet connectivity at home. And if these trends continue, low-income and underrepresented communities will lack necessary skills to compete in the labor market, which is fast evolving. This will further widen the income gap between the underrepresented minority groups and other high-income groups. So what is at stake in Austin? In Austin, which is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, with several tech companies relocating in, many residents, especially poor communities of color, lack necessary computer skills to compete for these opportunities. With the rising cost of living, there's been increasing desperation in low-income communities of color, especially those living in gentrified, poor inner-city neighborhoods. This problem is true in all major cities across the U.S. A growing source of income inequality is not only tied to low levels of education in communities of color, but the right sets of skills can enable them to compete in a computer literate world. And this can include any community with low income, any low income communities, not just communities of color. And a recent survey by the Community Advancement Network revealed remarkable differences in educational attainment and income disparities between communities of color and the white population. For instance, only 1/4 of Black and Hispanic residents in Travis County and Austin have a college degree, while more than 60% of Asian and white residents possess a college degree. Meanwhile, the median incomes of Black and Hispanic communities were 55% and 49% lower than the median income of white residents, respectively. So at this point in the presentation, I'll talk about what is the aim of this project. And this project aims at bridging the gap between students with greater access and opportunities to computer literacy programs and those with less access or complete lack thereof of these programs. I am proposing 2 intensive summer computer literacy programs to be offered targeting middle and high school students in low-income inner-city strategic locations within Austin ISD. This project aims at a partnership with the TEA, tech companies, Austin ISD, UT's Department of Computer Science, local community leaders, researchers in education policy, management, and curriculum development. And so I already contacted Google to hopefully have a partnership in this project, and I plan to contact other tech companies in the Austin area like Intel, AMD, and Tesla. And I've also already arranged a meeting with my local representative, who's in my district, which is the 47th District of Texas, Representative Vicki Goodwin. So I'm arranging a meeting next week with her team. And I've also arranged meetings with professors in the UT Department of Computer Science. So at this point in the presentation, I want to talk about global trends in the tech industry at the global level, national level, and at the local level here in Austin. So at the global level, North America and Asia dominate the rest of the world in regard to global tech industry distribution. North America and Asia account for 35% and 32% of the global tech industry distribution, respectively, while Europe accounted for 22%. So as seen here by the pie chart, Africa and Latin America have noticeably less percentage than Europe, Asia, and North America, with Africa only having 5% of distribution and Latin America only having 6%, which is significantly lower than Europe, Asia, and North America. And then at the national level, this figure shows the contribution of key sectors to the U.S. economy. So this bar graph shows the top 5 industries in the U.S. And as seen here in this bar graph, technology comes in second place when it comes to the top industries in the U.S. And this shows how significant the tech sector is in the U.S. Nowadays. And this might have not been true like a few years ago. Like the percentage might have been less, or it might have a lower ranking. So this shows how we need to prioritize low-income communities learning about computer science so they can take advantage of the tech boom happening here in the U.S. and here in Austin especially, which the other figures will show. I also want to talk about how the tech industry has been male dominated here in the U.S. So as seen here by this table, there's not really a noticeable increase in the percentage of females working in the tech industry. And the percentage of males working in the tech industry in this period is above 70% the entire time. But many organizations and universities are trying to solve this problem. And so right now I've been visiting colleges, and when I was visiting Carnegie Mellon, so when I was visiting the computer science department in Carnegie Mellon University, they have this program in the computer science department where they try to meet a quota of to increase the number of women to majoring in computer science. So hopefully they can be a higher percentage of women working in the tech industry. And overall employment in computer and information technology occupations projected to grow by 15% from 2021 to 2031, much faster than the average for all occupations. This increase is expected to result in about 682,800 new jobs over the decade. So hopefully, and this project can also address the problem of the tech industry being male dominated. And this figure at the local level shows trends in job growth in the tech industry versus all other industries in the Austin metropolitan area. So the green line represents the percentage of job growth in the Austin metropolitan area in the tech industry, and the purple line represents the percentage of job growth in all other industries here in the Austin metropolitan area. So as seen here by the graph, over the course of the period, the green line is higher than the purple line, which shows that the tech sector is dominating over all other industries in terms of job growth. And this shows that we need to help local communities, especially low-income communities, take advantage of this tech boom so they're not left out. And this graph here shows trends in high-tech job growth here in Austin versus the US. So the green line here is the Austin metropolitan area, and the purple line is the US as a whole. So as seen here, Austin has a much higher percentage of job growth in the tech industry for most of the period. And it just shows again how we need to take advantage of this tech boom in Austin to help local Austinites benefit the most from this tech boom. And also forgot to mention one thing back here. There's been a dip in 2021 in the tech industry for the percentage of job growth. And that was because of COVID, and many companies here in Austin, such as like Google, had to lay off workers as a result of COVID. So that decreased the job growth here in Austin in the tech industry. And at this point in the presentation, I want to talk about the main goals and project deliverables for this project. So our first goal is to establish rigorous summer coding and computer literacy programs in low-income inner-city communities within Austin ISD. And we also want to provide a platform for motivation of kids, not only in coding and computer programming, but also to develop interest in pursuing other quantitative subjects such as math, science, statistics, and data analytics, which blend in well with computer science languages and how they can better take the skills they have learned to higher levels of learning. And we also want to establish a database for tracking success in terms of progression in schools and job career paths of attendees. And we also want to partner with Austin ISD to identify strategic locations, especially schools, where this program will be housed, and how such a program can be mainstreamed into the district's regular curricula activities. And since Austin is now a hub to major tech companies, this project aims to partner with these businesses along with the TEA to provide resources such as computers, software packages, summer stipends for trainers in this program, in addition to other logistical requirements. And in this project, we also want to partner with the UT Department of Computer Science to attract their computer science majors to teach in our program during the summer. So at this point in the presentation, I want to talk about key stakeholders in this project. So for this project to succeed, it requires close partnership with dedicated stakeholders in an institutional environment, which provides oversight to ensure that the project deliverables are met. My grand vision is that these stakeholders will merge into an oversight board to ensure that the project deliverables are achieved. So as seen here by this diagram that models the key stakeholders for this project. So our first stakeholder is the TA, and the TA is going to be really important for us because it will provide this project government legitimacy, because it's just not going to be me only has a 16-year-old leading this project. So if we want to take this project to a national level, I'll have an actual government agency backing up this project, and it'll legitimize this project so it can be nationally recognized going down the road in the future. And another key stakeholder is tech companies such as Google, that you mentioned before. And tech companies can provide us with resources such as computers, laptops needed to run this program. And tech companies can also provide us with lots of financial support for the programs. And another key stakeholder in this project is researchers in education policy, management, and curricula development. And these researchers can come from local universities here in Texas, in this area. So they can come from UT, and it'll be good if they come from the UT school, Department of Computer Science especially, and also Texas State too. And another key stakeholder is community leaders. So as I talked before, I arranged a meeting with the local representative here in Texas, Representative Vicki Goodwin. So that's another key stakeholder. And it provides us with further government legitimacy because I have actual government people and entities backing up this project.
Ethan, can you explain a little bit about what makes this, like, what is specifically unique about your approach?
I say what's specifically unique about my approach is that instead of just getting like, I guess, funding from like private entities like tech companies, and maybe even like universities, I'm actually trying to like reach out to government entities. So I'm reaching out to local representatives and government entities, especially in the education field, like the TA. So I feel like that kind of like sets this project apart.
Yeah. And like specifically, like, who are your customers? Like, who are you trying to serve? I know the problem, and we're trying to make sure that kids in all parts of AISD in Texas and the country have access to this rigorous computer science curriculum and instruction. But like, who are you helping out? Like, who is going to be willing to like devote their resources, their time in their day, or their students' time, or their teachers' time? Like, whose pain point are you trying to solve?
I'm trying to solve I just trying to like get like kids, especially like middle schoolers, like in low income areas, to be aware of like computer science, and hopefully they can get interested in it, because I feel like there are many kids out there who might not know they might be interested in to doing computer science. It's just that they have not been exposed yet. So
Yeah,
I feel
right.
get them exposed.
There's this big cool thing out there that's like potentially like a pathway to a really great career.
Yeah.
You're thinking like, hey, there's a disconnect of like, you may not know this stuff exists. Like, look at this really cool stuff. Like, you saw that you were able to get interactive with or in touch with Code Ninja, right? But like you want to make sure that that opportunity is available for all kids.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this is really interesting and just like really just thankful for your time and how like you've kind of put this together. And I do like and I know Brian and I have to run to another meeting real quick. But like just really appreciate you bringing this to us. I think that a couple just initial thoughts. One is like would love to hear more from you like as you think about like here's the spit like it's a huge problem, right? Like absolutely huge problem. Like you're talking about like poverty, you're talking about like curriculum in schools, you're talking about like awareness of career pathways, like there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so like what is like the specific thing that you're trying to solve? Like get more granular and I'm thinking about like how do you pitch this to us? Like how do you pitch this to other people? Is it actually this awareness piece? Because that might make you like go do different things, right? Like I saw a little bit in here about like curriculum of like, look, like we could like build this great curriculum, but like that's solving a different problem, right? Like that's having a curriculum saying like, I got the kids, I got the time, I need the right stuff to teach the kids, right? And that's like, okay, let's invest in a curriculum that's really awesome. But if the problem is actually different, it's like coding exists, like computer science exists. We need like kids in lower income areas to understand it exists. That's like billboards and Twitter and like talks at school and like cool advertisements that get people like understanding talks with the district to say like what are the pathways available to us. So like I think as you like it's super cool that people that you're talking um to kind of like explain the idea and get some support for it. And I would frankly love to hear more, like maybe a little bit down the line as you like build it out more. Love to get us back on a call together just to hear kind of how your thinking has evolved, and just generally like your college and career experience. But like as you think about this, like what is that problem that you're trying to solve, and then like why does that matter to TEA, or like how can TEA help you?
Yeah.
So just really appreciate you bringing this to us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I would add there, Ethan, I think like as you were articulating in response to Andrew there, like I'm thinking like middle school students need better awareness, like that in its own right, just like helping articulate, oh, it's middle school, not necessarily high school. That helps, us think, oh, what are the different pieces that we could actually plug in here that might make sense. So, but yeah, echo Andrew's appreciation. This is really interesting, and I think you've done a lot of great thinking here.
So
And Ethan, I'm happy to, I'll just drop my email address in the chat. I think your dad has it as well. But if you want to just like reach out to us and stay in touch,
yeah, I will.
happy
Thank
to
you.
do so. All right. All right, have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks, Ethan.
I'm gonna copy. I'm gonna copy it really quick.
Okay.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know if
close it.
like, it'll like remove the chat.
Yeah. Let me know whenever you got it and I'll close.
I got it.
Awesome.
All
Have a
right.
good rest of your day. Have a great week.